Oh, there we are.
Rounder.
Sorry, we're 20 seconds late. It's mostly because Meredith was having technical problems, but I coached him through it because I'm pretty technical.
These
And
are
we
my
got there in
technical
the
problems.
end. Yeah, what's that? Villamora? Isn't that a children's program?
No, it's the harbour in the Algarve.
I thought, isn't it the harbour in Firemantown?
That's
No.
Balamori, isn't it? You're talking about?
Balamori, that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Balamori, that's in the Algarve, isn't it, where all the rich people go?
That's right, and me. Yeah.
Right. This better be a good session because it's the first one back live after our lovely half-term break. Well, your lovely half-term break, anyway.
Yeah, it was nice. Oh, yeah, evening, you're right. Got out.
Oh, she's there again. We've got to get her on camera at some point.
Yeah, do you want to come and say hello?
Come and say hello. Come on.
Come and say hello. Here we are. Say hello to Dom.
Hey! Brilliant. Lovely to see you. Oh, that's great. Oh, do you know what? The cleaning staff are always the best, aren't they?
Oh, definitely.
The best in schools. You
get the best chats anyway.
They do have the best chats. Mostly because they're not tied to anything to do with teaching, which is great.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. Talking of teaching, what are we doing today then?
Yeah, so today we are deep diving on symbols within.
Say that word. Why would you say that? Don't put everyone off before we started. Don't say deep.
Today we are glossing over symbols within symbols.
We're
gonna have a very hands-on, friendly look at symbols within symbols. We're gonna demystify the asset warp tool today. That's the stuff.
Oh yeah, that's what. Yeah, because you tried to throw it in there with about 2 minutes to go last week, and I wrapped you on the knuckles.
I think I was told to. So yeah, but there we are.
Yeah, there was some.
You can pin it on me. That's fine. And I've also got a little freebie for you, Dom, because if you remember last week, do you remember one of your big frustrations with Adobe Animate is the color picker?
Yeah.
Right. Well, after I got off the session, I was like, okay, this is crazy. There has got to be an easier way of choosing colors. I just saw
Your cleaner. Get your cleaner on next time.
Yeah.
Is it Angela Chesterton? I can't remember now.
Hands off. She's mine. She's mine.
There you go.
Yeah. She's a babe. Leave her alone.
She's a babe.
Yeah. No poaching.
Annette, that's Annette. That. Just check. Annette, we're gonna go live with you next week, and then we'll get your cleaner on, and we'll give her what for.
I'm gonna close my door. I think. Hang on.
Right. So yeah, there's something about the color picker used to drive me nuts because it's like not very intuitive. So
yeah, well, there is I've solved that. So that's that. Yeah, and it's really ridiculously easy. So sorry to everyone. Sorry to everyone that maybe knew this already. But we're going to be looking at that. We're going to be the main thing is I think we need to really nail the asset warp tool so that everyone's really happy with that. And then we're going to talk a bit more about kind of my philosophy on layers. So passionate. So my way of doing layers out on the main timeline, because I think that's been something that people have kind of found, and you as well. You found it a bit funny, like, okay, so we're building all these layers inside of symbols and then just using symbols out on the main timeline.
No, I do get it.
What?
I do get it. Get it, but you could, there's a grouping down you could do. I don't know. We'll see.
Okay.
Annette also says she's too busy on her phone. Well, can you blame her?
Oh, your cleaner. Oh, yeah. I don't think.
By the way, I've decided that I'm gonna start getting pretty harsh with your philosophy because you love it. You wax lyrical on all sorts of philosophies during these sessions, and everyone's just sitting around going, "Come on, let's get going." So don't bring your philosophy in, but don't be surprised if I start asking you to make executive summaries of it.
I tell you what, pot calling the kettle black. That was a very long-winded way to tell me to get on with things. Right, the slides up.
Let's get going.
The slides up. You and your cocoa water, whatever you're drinking there.
Listen, that was a meal deal today, bought by Adobe. So who's not living the high life here?
Proper Coke was sold out, is it? Right. Okay. So as I said, we're going to be looking at the asset warp tool in detail today. Just a reminder that this scenario that we're doing in these sessions, I keep saying this at the beginning of each session because you know, I'm not sure if people are watching them all or popping in and out. So this is the Camp Cymru scenario, okay, that I've made up for these sessions. Moving on. All right, Dom, come on. All right, okay.
Oh, look at this. Strike throughs. Woo!
Yeah, I know. I enjoyed doing that. I don't think I've ever done that. It was fun. So today we're going to kind of look at animating the background symbols, and we're going to talk about kind of background, foreground, and in that we'll be looking at the Acid Warp tool, as I said. If you're wondering what's coming up, then this kind of gives us a list of the things coming up, you know, over the next few episodes. Okay, here we go. This looks tasty, doesn't it?
Oh, bloody no.
It's meant to look like your stack of layers on your timeline, okay? So this is how I'd like to set out the layers on my main Adobe Animate timeline. So, you know, as you can see, yeah, so in your main scene, yeah, in Adobe Animate. Now, as you can see, this is the bare minimum, okay? Because I'm a bit of an extremist when it comes to keeping things off the main. When it comes to keeping things off the main timeline, you know, I'm quite extreme, really. But even then, even this is the bare minimum. You know, there's a lot of layers there, yeah? So you're going to have an audio layer because we have to have audio. Then we've got the background layer that we've already been working on in the last few sessions. Our character is obviously going to have to move independently from the background. So he or she or it is going to need a layer. And then a foreground. So this, obviously, if you've got any items that you want in front of your character, say, for example, you want your character to be walking between two tents. You know that campfire scene we've been working on?
Yeah, I've got it right here now.
Yeah. So, you know, you may want your character walking in from stage right, so from our left, walking in beside the tent, but that there's another tent nearer to us, and that, you know, that we see the character's head and then obviously the body as it passes the tent in the foreground. So obviously if you want anything in front of your character, that's going to have to be on a layer above your character. So that's why I've got this foreground layer in here. And then lighting. Now this is optional, but it's fun. So we're going to have a look at that, okay? How we can create lighting effects. So that obviously is going to be on another layer. Then a camera. Again, this is optional, although WJC have actually got a video on their tutorials talking about the camera. Now, there's no mention of it anywhere in the mark scheme or the spec or anything, but it suggests that maybe they quite like the idea of using the camera within Animate. We've spoken about creating a logo that, you know, if you're going to make a logo for Camp Cymru, if you're making a video for Camp Cymru, you're going to need a logo in there somewhere. So, and that, you know, you wouldn't want that usually being affected by things like camera movements and lights and things like that. It would usually be kind of in front of all of that. So again, we want it on its own layer above. And then finally, then at the top there, we got
buttons.
Buttons. Yes, everyone's favorite pantomime character. Yeah.
The scourge of everyone's DigiTech lives. Apparently.
Yeah. So yeah, well, that's right. That's a fact. So buttons at the top, then obviously, because they are going to be in front of everything. The colors, if you think
of doing all of this week, this session.
No.
Just checking. No, just checking because you're 9 minutes in.
Okay, thanks for that. If you wonder what these colors are all about, basically all the dark blue ones are, you know, normal graphic symbols like the ones we've been creating over the last sessions. So basically the stuff that's in dark blue, you know, those are things that you are already able to do, really. Okay. And then we've obviously got the character there. That's going to be an armature layer, which we'll use a bone tool to assemble. The camera is something different. The buttons are different and the audio is different. That's why they're in those other colors. Okay, so so on to the Acid Warp tool. So what I've put here is just step by steps. Here's how you use the Acid Warp tool. Now, you can't really be creative and artistic with the Acid Warp tool. Either you use it in this specific set of steps, or you break it. There's no kind of, well, I messed about and it came out like this. You know, you have to use the Acid Warp tool and follow the correct procedure. Otherwise, things aren't going to work. Okay. So I'm not going to read through these now. These will be on the slides. Guys, if you want the slides, you just need to sign up to the link. The link will be under the video in the description.
Yeah, I'll try to stick it on a banner as well.
Yeah, cool. If you're catching up with this later on, it's in the description. And by clicking on that link, you'll get access to the slides from all of the sessions. And also in some of the sessions, I've been popping some handy PDFs in those folders. My tracking spreadsheet for Unit 3 is in there. And when I finish my Unit 2 one, that'll be up as well in one of the later sessions. So make sure that you sign up on that link under the video to get all the good stuff. Okay, so that's me done with slides. So can you pop over to my laptop screen now, please?
Of course.
Here we are. Are we there?
Yeah.
Cool. I'm not seeing you anymore now, okay? I'm off.
That's fine, yeah.
Yeah, it's lovely. Right.
How dare they?
How dare you? Right. So last week, if you remember, we built up from scratch this beautiful campfire scene. So we did all that from scratch last week, and it went really well. It was a great session, I thought. So if you didn't watch it last week because you were on half term and you had a million better things to do, it would be a good idea to catch up with that.
Yeah.
So today we're going to start by looking at flames for this campfire. Okay.
And this is where the acid warp tool comes in. I call it acid warp because I think it sounds better.
Acid warp. Sounds like a
that's actually how you really pronounce it. So there you go. Yeah, no.
Sounds like something from Manchester in the 90s.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was Leeds in the noughties, actually.
Oh, there we are. Right, less of that. So let's get cracking with some fire. Okay, so again, if you've been following the other videos, like with these rocks that make up the base of the fire and the logs themselves, you know, I made one rock and I made one log, and I used those two single assets, two single symbols to build up those kind of those scenes there. Yeah. So I got my rock, I've got my log, and then I've just used multiple instances of the same symbol to build up the fireplace on this scene too. Okay, cool. So we're gonna do the same now with flames. Okay. We're gonna make one flame, and then we're gonna reuse that flame within another symbol, and we're gonna be using symbol effects as well, so that we can get the flames in different colors, different sizes, moving differently, etc.
You could also use the adjust brightness tool.
We may even use the brightness. All right. Can you have a dark flame? I don't know about that.
Of course you can.
I don't know about that. Right. So we're gonna go to creating a new symbol. All right. Let's go. Oh, I'm gonna call this single flame. Oh, I could just call it flame, but I want to make it. I want to hammer it home that we're going to make one flame, and then we'll be making a bunch of flames. You'll have to run out.
Single flame. Come on. Keep it going. I want to hammer it home. Go on.
Of all the things that you find funny, is that. There we are. Right on.
Right. I call my wife single flame.
That doesn't even make sense. Right. Are you doing this as well?
Yeah, I am. I'm waiting for you to get going. Good. Come on.
Stop cackling then, because I'm going to want to see your homework in a bit. Right, so I'm on the fluid brush tool. Okay, remember that's the only brush tool worth using. And then over on the properties, I'm going to ramp up the size of this brush. Okay, the thickness of the brush. So I'm over here in my tool properties. Sorry, properties tool. Now, I don't want a green flame. That's just bizarre. So
what are you going up to there? You've whacked it right at 167.
I know. I was going to go 168, but I thought that's too far. So now then, colors. Should we this little nugget that I got for you, Dom?
Go on then.
All right.
Why is yours over on the left-hand side? That's bizarre.
You are?
Why is your color picker over on the left-hand side? I see. Sorry.
Clicked on that little color. Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to click there because I want to change it from green to a flame color. Now, actually, there's plenty of options here for flames in there, but let's pretend there aren't, and we want to mix something. So you click on the little rainbow beach ball.
Yeah.
And you get to this, the worst color picker in the history of the world. Because none of this looks like a flame.
Doesn't make any sense.
Look how easy it is. Look how easy this is, Dom, all right? Take that little dot. And now we've got our our colors of the rainbow on the right, and we've got our kind of hue to shade square on the left, which is pretty much like every other app uses colors, really.
Right. Yeah, that's much better.
Yeah. So if I want flames, I come down here. Yeah. So obviously, if you ever need white, then that you can be anywhere on the rainbow and just go to the top left.
And top right for bottom right for left.
If you want black, it's anywhere along the bottom. Anywhere along the bottom at all. Grey is all the way up the left-hand side of the square. Shades of grey. Okay. And then
more than 50 there.
Calm down. And then if you want the full hue, okay. So if you want that color in its full strength, you go top right. Okay, so the top right corner is full hue. And then obviously if you want lighter shades, you come across the top. If darker shades, you come down the left. And then you've got kind of that mixed with greys towards the middle. Okay?
Yeah.
So if so for color pickers, I mean, the next two are also similar in a way. Okay? You can pick them on this kind of spectrum here and then choose lighter to darker versions on this scale. That one's okay as well. They're all right.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
But I think my favorite is that top one. I think because you've got everything there. You've got everything: white, black, greys, colors, and you got the rainbow. So whatever color you want to mix, you've got it here. Okay. So I'm gonna pick a nice flame orange. Okay. Click OK. Fine. So I've got my fluid brush tool. It's pretty thick. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just, with my fluid brush tool, I'm going to draw a few flames, and I'm going to just pick one of them as a favorite. Just, oh, dear. Okay. So I've just made 4 flames there. Okay.
You've got your stabilizer up. That's the thing. We're trying to work out, those fluid brush options. You've got to. Yeah,
maybe let's try these a little bit more extreme. I put everything on 100% apart from the size. Let's see. Oh yeah, that helps a load. Yeah, that helps loads. I had everything up there now apart from the size. Fine. So pick your favorite and delete the rest. Okay, so I'm just going to highlight the rest of them, get rid of them. Done. Bam. Gone. Okay.
Yeah.
So now we've got a single flame, Dom.
Yeah.
All right. So now then, we're going to straight away now, we're going to jump in with the acid warp tool. Okay. So the acid warp tool is this push pin icon on the left-hand side in your toolbar. Okay.
Yeah.
And then I am just going to tell you, I'm going to zoom in a bit of my flame. If you want to zoom in, on a PC, it's Control and roll your mouse wheel. Okay. If you're on a Mac, it's Command and roll your mouse wheel. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to place pins. So you click once and it adds this kind of the dots, and then you click again and it's going to add a pin. Okay. Now I'm just going to keep on adding them.
This is meaning they're going to just be grooving around, isn't it?
Say it again.
This means they're just going to be grooving around. Groovers in the house.
Yes. Okay. Right. Okay.
Carry on.
So I got my push pins in. Okay.
Yeah.
Now then, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add the keyframe. So say that I'm going to animate this flame for 1 second and then it's going to loop. Okay. So the important thing is once you add frames in, on your timeline. You cannot add any more push pins in at any point then after that, or your asset warp animation will break. Okay, so I'm going to go to 1 second here, 1S, click there, and I'm just going to add a keyframe. Okay, so I've added a keyframe. So now I've got a start point with my pins, and I got an end point with my pins. So I'm going to right click in between the two keyframes on the timeline on the gray bar, and I'm going to create a classic tween.
What's the difference in a classic and a motion?
So, in the early days of Flash,
Jesus, here we go.
Don't ask.
Anyone needs to get a cup of tea? Go for it.
Don't ask if you're bored by the answer to your question. Okay, back in the early days, there was only the classic tween. It was just a tween. Okay, and basically the classic tween can do motion tweens, but a motion tween makes moving things far simpler than using a classic tween to do that. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, basically you could just use the classic tween for everything, but as we found with the cloud in the first session on Animate, it's easier to use the motion tween sometimes.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
But basically the motion tween is only for moving stuff, you know? So we're not moving this flame, we're actually kind of warping it, you know what I mean, and twisting it out of shape. So a motion tween isn't going to do that. A motion tween would be good if you wanted to move the flame from left to right or from down to up or something like that. But it's not going to twist something. So that's what you need. A classic tween is a more clever kind of tween.
Yeah.
Okay? Good. Right. So if you remember with the tree, we want the flames animation to loop ideally. Yeah. And to loop nicely. So if we want it to loop nicely, what do we need to make sure that we keep, Dominic?
The start and the end point needs to be the same.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, so if we're going to loop without noticing the loop, so it's a seamless loop, the start keyframe and the end keyframe need to stay the same. Okay, so I'm not going to start twisting these pins around on this final keyframe. Otherwise, when it loops, it's going to kind of glitch every time. Okay, so what we need to do is to actually twist it out of shape, we need to do that in the middle between the start and end. Okay, so what I'm going to do is you could just do 1, but for the tree we did 2, and let's just do 2 again. So I'm going to go kind of a quarter of the way across this, click, add a keyframe. Okay, then I'm going to go kind of 3/4 of the way across, click on the frame, add a keyframe. So now I've got these 2 middle frames. Okay, and
I think you're looking for you're actually doing it in thirds there, not like my maths teacher, but I just not a quarter of the way across, a third of the way across. But we're splitting hairs here. Carry on. Yeah,
you are. You're wasting time. Come on. Right. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. Right.
And then you're just grabbing these little dots, are you? And then moving
now
around.
So I'm gonna make sure that I'm on one of the middle keyframes. So the first one, the first middle keyframe. Does that make sense? So it's the second keyframe.
Yeah.
Okay, and so I'm not grabbing the actual dots themselves. I'm going to grab these bones, that's what we call these, between the joints. Okay, so I'm going to just kind of twist the bone over, and it'll just tilt my flame. Okay, and I'm just trying to make it obviously different to the first one.
Right.
All right. Now I'm going to go to my next keyframe. And I'm going to do, the same again, just kind of twist it about. Or maybe I'm going to make this one as straight as possible.
Got you.
So I'm just going to line these all up as straight as possible.
This is fun.
It is fun, isn't it?
You see, you need to go and Google Groovers in the House, and then you'll understand what my reference is.
Well, you're talking about the song.
Yeah. If you look at the music video, that's all they do for the whole thing. Yeah.
Groovers in the House.
Yeah. Good God, no one deserved that. Anyway.
Sorry, I should have put a warning up.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
Okay, so now then I'm done with that. So I'm going to press play and see what it looks like. Okay. Looks like a worm dying, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, straight away, I think that my flame's animating too slowly.
Right.
Would you agree?
Is that your full speed? Is it?
Yeah. Is yours animating too
Why?
slowly?
Mine's not. Mine's going quite quickly for some reason. But
Fine. Yeah, that's fine. So if
Oh, you've done it over.
yeah. So if
Oh,
anybody,
you've
if you
done it
had
over like 5. Oh no, you haven't. You've done it over how many seconds? 1 second.
1
Why is it going
second,
so slowly? Maybe you just haven't twisted it enough.
yeah, probably, yeah. So if you ever want to speed stuff up, okay, you can just by clicking once on the keyframe, okay, to select the frame, and then just dragging it to the left.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's made this keyframe and this keyframe closer together. Okay. I can do the same here. Drag this back. So now instead of animating this over 1 second, I'm animating it over, what is that, like 13 frames instead of 25. So I'm kind of on half a second.
Yeah.
And then I'll just delete these gray frames that it leaves behind. Just remove the frames. Okay. So now when I play it, it'll be faster. There we are. Because it's obviously animating over a smaller amount of frames. If you want to see it looping, there's a little loop icon here next to the play button. And as I said before, I think it always puts the loop cycle on the most crazy selection of frames ever.
Yeah, I did try that before and then felt naughty for having tried it.
You always have to change the loop cycle. So grab those blue bars. Okay, so now if I press play, it gives me an idea of what this is going to look like. Okay, now I'm not particularly happy with that. There's something bizarre happening up the top there.
That's fine.
Yeah, I'm gonna run with it because as you'll see, it's still gonna end up looking amazing.
Yeah,
maybe. I don't know. Right. Okay, so that's our single flame. And I'm just gonna make a mental note of how long that was. Okay, so it was there we are, 10. So I'm on frame 13. Okay. Okay. Now then, what I'm gonna do now is back out. Okay, to my scene.
Yeah.
But and you'd think that I'm now going to drag that flame in like a billion times.
Well, I would think that. Yeah, I would think that's exactly what I think. In fact,
I'm not doing that. Okay, I'm going to create another new. I'm going to create another new symbol. So I'm going to do insert new symbol.
You're going to group them all on there, then, are you?
And I'm going to call this fire.
Multiple flames.
Oh yes, otherwise known as a fire.
Yeah, I mean, you're using the full range of vocab here.
Multiple flames.
Well, you can't come in with single flame and then not expect me to think multiple flames. Sir, these classes are confusing.
You can't. Right, don't say that, please. Give me a compliment. Right, here we go. Are you ready, Dom?
Yeah.
Right, let's go. So I'm going to drag now my single flame onto my fire symbol. Okay, straight away, before I forget, and then wonder why my animation isn't running, I had 14 frames of animation. Do you remember? Okay, so I'm just going to click on the 14th frame here. It was there. And I'm going to add frames. I do not need to insert a keyframe here. I'm going to add just a frame.
Okay.
The reason for that is that I'm not actually animating this flame at all. Does that make sense? Because I've already done it within the symbol. So that's all I need to do is dump the symbol on the first frame here and then say how long I want to see that symbol for. So that's
Wasn't the symbol dumped there automatically because it was an animated symbol?
I dragged it in. Do you remember? Yeah, I dragged it in.
So it came on automatic, right? Got you.
Yeah, so the animation inside that symbol will run as long as I've given it time to run. So just normal frames to run on this timeline. Okay, cool. So there we go. I've got that. Now then, what I'm going to do now is inside this symbol, I'm just going to duplicate this flame a few times. Okay, so Control D on a PC, Command D on a Mac.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Suppose you could flip them as well, couldn't you?
Yeah. Stop spoiling stuff.
Oh, sorry. Right. Transform.
Right. So now,
Yeah.
Now, my big reveal is we're going to right click on one of these. We're going to do transform, flip horizontal. Now, nobody thought of that.
Okay. So that's why I'm being gifted and talented, sir.
Yeah. And then I'm going to choose another one and I'm going to do right click, transform, flip vertical.
Ah, missed that one. As soon as you started saying it, I was like, I know what he's going to say.
And then you could do another flame flipped vertically and horizontally, couldn't you? You know?
Oh, hang on. Steady answer.
No, too much.
Way too much.
Okay, no. Don't worry, because your animation is going to look weird.
Just because we're so zoomed in. Oh, look at yours doing all that kind of mad. Right.
Okay, so it's doing that. So why does that animation look weird, Dom?
Because they're all kind of going the same way, aren't they?
Right, exactly. They're all doing the same animation at the same time, and it pulls your eye, doesn't it? You notice it. Okay,
yeah.
So here's what we can do. Okay, select one of your flames.
Gotcha.
Okay, and now on the properties panel on the right hand side, right down the bottom, you see looping, and then you see it says first. That's telling this particular flame which of its frames it starts on.
Right.
So when
it's telling the single flames.
When I made my single flame, it had 14 frames, didn't it?
I got you.
Yeah. But when you drag instances of that symbol into another symbol, you can choose. It doesn't have to start on frame 1. Yeah. You can tell these symbols. So this one's starting on 13. This one is starting on 6. This one is starting on 1. And the other one is starting on 11. So now when I press play, it's far more random, isn't it? Okay? Cool. Now then, next. You're going to like this. Okay. Choose one of your flames. On the right-hand side in the properties panel, under object, go to your color effects. Go to tint.
Tint?
Yeah. Tint and
what?
I know then. And whack your tint right up to 100%.
100%? That's going to go, for me, that goes white.
Yeah. And then have you got this color picker next to tint?
Oh, hello.
Okay. And now you can choose different flamey colors.
Man alive.
So I'm just going to go to tint, choose another flamey color.
Bloody Nora.
I know. You're excited now, aren't you? You're enjoying this.
Yeah, no, I'm enjoying this. This is good. There we go. Let me keep mine subtle.
Subtle?
Subtle, yeah.
All right, okay. Okay.
I want to go mad.
No. There we go. Okay. So now...
Yeah, I mean, oh, look at that.
You wouldn't tell really... You wouldn't really be able to tell that that's the same flame 4 times, would you?
No.
The same single flame.
Yeah, really cool.
Yeah, cool. Okay. Now, obviously, you could go bananas on that and spend more time on it, but we're not going to. Okay? You are. Yeah. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop back out to this symbol. So I'm going to click step backwards. And I'm going to go to my library and I'm going to open up my backdrop scene 2.
Yeah.
Okay. Now then, at the moment, my top layer at the moment is Firebase. So I'm just going to add a layer above it. And I call it Fire.
Your main this is in your backdrop scene 2.
Yeah.
So this is the bit that it's taken me a while to get to this. This is where when you're adding stuff in, you do want to put a new layer on. That's your management side, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. And again, you don't have to. You could just use, push forward, send back, and all that. But it does make your life easier to have layers. And the reason you wouldn't normally want to do that is because you wouldn't want your main animation timeline getting cluttered. But because we're building our animations within symbols, then you're free to kind of do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't have to be so economical with your frames then.
Yeah.
Okay. So here I am. I'm on backdrop scene 2. Okay. I've added a fire layer. So what am I going to do? Well, I'm just going to drag my fire symbol into the scene. Okay. Put it into place.
Yeah. Okay.
I want those flames to be a little bit see-through. So I'm going to go to properties, go down to alpha, bring that down a bit.
Pre-transform. Oh, so I want to get them all, don't I? Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing that I find quite strange is that you actually have to edit things off screen to get them to the size that you want them on screen. That takes a bit of get used to.
So yeah, well, what do you mean? I just dragged my fire on there, and and it was too big. So then I just.
Oh yeah. Oh no. Okay. Yeah. No. For some reason, I think I had some kind of crazy thing selected before now.
Okay.
Cool.
So I'm gonna bring my fire in twice. So I got it once there. Bring it in again, and I'm gonna do transform, flip vertical, right click, transform, flip horizontal. And this one as well, I'm going to do properties, alpha, bring that down.
So alpha is opacity in animation.
Yeah, I wish they'd just call it opacity. Okay, and then I'm just going to lay that over the other set of flames. Okay. So even as a still image, that looks really cool.
Yeah.
And that's all been made from one flame.
Yeah.
One single flame. Right, now then.
Alpha.
If
Yeah.
You could even add well, we won't do that now, but you could even add tint to your group of tinted flames. You know, if you wanted more kind of a purpley or a bluish kind of flame. But I'm not gonna do that now. Okay. Are you there?
Yeah.
Okay, because this next bit I think is pretty important. Okay, because if I press play, nothing happens, does it?
No.
And I know that there is stuff happening inside these symbols, so it should be happening. So the reason for that is that in my backdrop scene 2 symbol at the moment, I only have
got one keyframe in there.
We only got one frame of time. It only exists. Oh, my mouse just ran out of battery. There we are. Okay, I'm back on the trackpad now. Right. Okay, so I'm using this scene for 5 seconds out of my main timeline. Yeah? Now, what we want to make sure, obviously, is that this animation runs for longer than that. At least that, really, isn't it? Yeah? So I'm just going to be, I'm going to be played really safe. I'm going to go up to something like 8 seconds here. Okay? I'm going to go to 8 seconds and choose this first frame here. Now,
just on the fire label. Just on the fire layer,
yeah,
sorry.
Just for now. Okay, because then what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in on that. Now, when you zoom in on the timeline, it's annoying because it shifts to the right and you have to scroll back.
Right.
Okay, but once you're close enough, because what I want to do is I want to add frames for all of my layers. Okay, but what I'm going to do on 8 seconds here, I'm just going to click on the fire on this frame for the fire on 8 seconds. But then I'm just going to do. Oh no, sorry, I'm not going to do click and then click and drag, because it tries moving it. I'm just going to click off it, and then I'm going to click and drag down over all of those frames. Yeah?
Yeah.
And then I'm just going to add insert frame. Straightforward, vanilla, insert frames there. Okay? And now, now I've got the, the world's least intelligent loop activated there at the moment. So it's going to disable that. Press play.
Nice.
Yeah, it's awesome, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so I've got this running for. Here we go. It's keep on going. It's going for 6, 7. Let's hit 8. But obviously, if I step back out of, I'm back out on my main timeline here. this will just run for however long I've decided for it I want it to last. So I want it to last from 5 to 10 seconds. So it's 5 seconds.
So you're doing exactly the same thing on your main timeline now?
Oh, no, I don't need to do anything because it's there, isn't it?
Oh, no, it's already there, yeah.
It's in that symbol. And my symbol's already on my main timeline. Right. So anything I add into that backdrop scene 2 in the symbol will automatically appear on the timeline when I come back out. Okay, so here's my scene 1. Scene 1 comes to an end. Here's scene 2. My flames there. They're running. Now my animation is going to stop using this scene there. But I know that if I needed it, I've got another 3 seconds of that animation running within the symbol.
Right.
Always have a bit of spare, you know?
Yeah.
Now then, at the beginning of last week's session, I got rid of my waving tree animation because I was going to go through it again. But then you said, oh, can I do it on mine? Do you remember?
Yeah.
So if people are watching, they wonder, why isn't his tree moving? It's because I got rid of my acid warp animation here for my tree waving back and forth. So at the moment, my tree is just a still tree.
But they can go and look at last week's, can't they?
Yeah, I won't do it now, but I'll do it.
It's the same process as that what we've just done.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Can I see yours then, Dom?
Yeah, you certainly can. Hang on 1 sec.
Tell me when I can go off.
Hang on a minute.
When I can pop back.
Present share screen. Share screen. Let's do entire screen. There we go. Let's go back to animate. Dom screen.
Oops. Sorry.
Add to stream. Hey.
Are you there?
Yeah.
Right. Sorry. Let me have a look.
Do you want to go right from the start?
Yeah, please.
Right. So there we go. I'm waving away. My cloud's going. Let's see what it looks like at night.
Oh, look at that. In a hurricane. Look at that tree.
I know. That tree's, I mean, it's in the Bahamas, isn't it? In absolute storm season. And also that fire's jumping out the pit a little bit, but, you know, I'm happy with it. I'm well happy with that.
It looks brilliant. It looks great.
It looks better from afar, I'll tell you that.
And if you clip the stage as well, do you remember that button top right?
Yeah.
That makes a big difference as well, doesn't it? You know, you see it properly.
Yeah. That tree's funny, isn't it? Ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, but you have to play around with it a few times, and then you're like, oh right, I understand the bone tool, you know, and where you kind of need to do.
Yeah.
You know, it's subtle, isn't it? You need to be subtle with it, really.
Yeah. It looks great. The fire looks great. The rocks look good. Your tent looks brilliant. The tree is waving.
The tent's really cool, actually. I was really impressed with that.
Yeah, and it was, you know, when you think how quickly we built that tent last week.
Yeah.
And it looks brilliant. Yeah, and go back to your first scene because you've used the tent there as well, haven't you?
For sure.
No, you're on the right. You're on the right place there. Just scroll back.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we are.
Yeah.
So you've had good you got a good value out of that tent.
Yeah, it's a nice row of tents.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah,
right.
Very nice. Loving it. Trees are ridiculous. Right then. Come on, keep us going.
Yeah. Okay. Back to me then. Okay.
Right. Which one do you want? Slides? Or you want animation?
The laptop. Yeah. Animate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So that's that done. Okay. Now then, I'm going to, so I'm currently here now on my main timeline. And still on my main timeline, I've just got this one single layer and I call it backdrops. Yeah. So it is, you know, the neatest timeline you'll see at the moment. So I'm just gonna talk about lighting. That was one of the things that I spoke about. Okay. And this can be a lot of fun as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a layer to my main timeline. Dun dun dun. It's the first time I've done this since the first session. Okay, so add a layer, and I'm just going to call it lighting. Okay. Are you there?
Yeah. Cool.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to make a new symbol, and I'm going to call it fire gloom. Okay, so kind of, like darkness, but with fire in the middle. All right. So you'll always laugh at my symbol names.
Go.
So I'm going to go insert new symbol.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm going to call it fire bloom.
I mean, you're evoking childhood memories of Craigerdon here. It feels
Of
very
what?
poetic. Craigerdon.
Craigerdon. Now then, yes. Okay, fire gloom. Here we go. So this is going to be a pretty quick one. Okay. Now then, in fire gloom, I'm just going to make a rectangle. I don't particularly want an outline to this rectangle, so I'm going to click on the stroke color, and I'm just going to click on that to make the stroke disappear. Okay. And now I'm just going to make a rough rectangle like that. All right. Now then, over on the right-hand side, I'm going to open up my color panel. Remember when we were making the tent last week, we played around with gradients. Okay. So in here, I'm going to choose, this time I'm going to choose a radial gradient. Okay. And I want my radial gradient to end as black because it's, the night. So there's my last one. Choose black down there. Okay. I've switched my color picker over to this top one again.
Yeah. I mean, why doesn't it just default there?
I don't know. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to choose my first color there in the gradient, and I'm going to choose a nice kind of flame kind of color. Okay.
This is meant to be like a kind of dusk or something.
You'll see now. You'll see. Just go with it.
Oh, you're just keeping it under wraps. That's what all the best magicians do. They just keep it in the dark.
I'm going to add another stop to the gradient. So I'm just going to click in the gradient here. See, it's added another stop. And in this one, I'm gonna go for another fire color. And do you know what? Because I'm showing off, I'm gonna move these stops over. So I've moved these stops over a bit. I'm gonna put like a yellow right at the end. So I'm gonna click again here to add another stop. Click. There's my stop. I'm gonna click in that square, and I'm gonna go for a yellow in there. Okay, so I got a nice kind of fire gradient there, haven't I?
Okay.
Do you like it?
Well, I'm sort of confused as to what we're doing, but all will be revealed.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe I'm going to swap. Actually, I'm going to start off with the red. Like this makes more sense. I'm going to go red, orange, yellow, like that. Okay. Right now, I'm going to bring the black closer. Okay. Well then, grab your paint bucket tool, and then try and kind of imagine your fireplace scene. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to click roughly where the fireplace is, so kind of bottom center-ish, a bit off the bottom. Nothing's happening. Hang on. What's happening here, Dom?
Oh, it's happening on mine.
Is it working? Yeah.
Yeah. Blimey, look at that.
I'm upset now.
Well, open up your properties, see where you are in there.
Oh, yeah.
Go to properties.
Properties.
Tool.
Click on this guy, Phil. Yeah. Should be able to...
Can you go to tool?
Tool.
Why can't you? You need to go back to your paint bucket again.
Paint bucket. Right.
All right.
Oh, my gradient's gone now. Let me try it with this.
There you go. It's back
it works
on
with that gradient.
Yeah.
That's bizarre. Okay. That's not the gradient I'm looking for. Oh, look what I did. Look what I did.
You put it in your stroke.
Silly boy.
What have I done?
What a silly boy. I put my gradient in the stroke. Well, there we are. There's a learning experience for us all. When you're making gradients, make sure that you're putting them on the fill, not like I just did. Okay. There we go. I'm there now. So I click in there. Oh, my goodness. Okay, so there we go. I'm going to click down there, roughly about there.
Ooh.
You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Right.
Where did mine just go? Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now then, I'm going to step back out. Okay. This is my main timeline. I'm going to come over to 5 seconds where scene 2 starts.
Mine's on 6. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So wherever your first keyframe is for your second scene,
yeah,
we're going to add an empty keyframe in on this new layer. Yeah. So I'm on lighting. I'm on the lighting layer, and I'm going to add an empty keyframe in there.
Empty keyframe. Yeah, that's still eluding me. What the difference between those are?
You could have put just a normal keyframe in actually as well. Right. It would have made no difference there at all actually. So a keyframe or an empty keyframe would be fine. Okay, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to drag my fire gloom onto this scene. And now I'm going to go to my properties and color effects, alpha. And I'm just bringing that right down there.
Ah, okay.
So what you end up with is the black part of the to see this with and without, basically, if you look here, you've got hide layer button. So if I hide it, it looks like that.
Yeah.
You're on, it looks like that. Are we getting any comments about
that? Well, we haven't had any comments for a while. Come on, people, speak up. Let's hear you.
What do you think of this? What is your opinion, folks, on using this? Such a simple idea, isn't it? It's just literally a rectangle. It's a rectangle with a gradient on it. And then I whack it on a layer in front of your scene, and then I bring down the opacity to taste. You know, you wouldn't want it like that.
No, of course. Nice trick, says Anthony. There he is. He's in there. It is a nice little trick, that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. When you see it with and without, I think it adds a huge amount.
Yeah, it definitely makes it much more evocative as a scene.
Yeah. Now, obviously, you don't just do this with fire. You could do this with the sunshine. Okay.
Yeah.
Because you can create a gradient where one of the colors is transparent.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, in fact, let's do that now. Okay. So I'm going to go to insert new symbol. I'm going to call
Ellen thinks it's great. She loves it.
Oh, cool. I'm going to call this new symbol. What raise? Is it raise? What is that a good word? Or
yeah.
Sunshine, glow, sunshine.
Glow is a good one. I'm going to go with glow.
Anyway, you call it what you want. Right. So in here, I'm going to add another rectangle.
Yeah.
And do you know what? I'm going to leave the stroke on actually, because I think it helps us. It's going to help us to see that we've got a kind of transparent inside. Okay. So now go back over to my color over here. Okay.
Should we? Yeah. Okay. Should we be in? What is going on there?
In object drawing.
In object drawing.
know it doesn't make a difference in this case, I don't think.
Because it's only one thing, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. We're not making different shapes and combining shapes, so it doesn't make a difference. Okay, so here we go. I've created a rectangle, and it's put this, it's put that old glow on there for us. Okay. So this time, what we want to do is go to my color picker here. Now then, this color, okay, this black on the gradient. I'm just going to double click on it, and it brings up our color swatch. And if I drag the alpha right down to 0, it makes that color invisible in the gradient. Yeah. So now if I click away, click there. You seeing that?
Yeah, nice.
Now, I think that's a bit extreme for sunshine in the day. So I'm gonna maybe get rid of the red from there, drag it off the bottom, move the orange right over, bring the yellow a bit closer to the orange, and even start, yeah. And then I'm gonna try that again. There we are. I think that's better. But again, when I pop it in there on the scene, it's gonna, I'm gonna turn the opacity down loads. The alpha's gonna come down loads. So again, it's just gonna be an effect, isn't it? Okay, so there's my sunshine. So normally I wouldn't have this red edge to it, but I've kept it in because I think it's handy for us to see that this is a rectangle with basically transparent non-color filled in there.
Yeah.
As part of the gradient.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So I'm going to step back out, and I'm going to zoom my timeline back to the beginning. Make sure I choose this first empty frame here on the lighting layer. I'm going to go to library, and I'm going to drag sunshine in. I'm going to drop it into place. Okay.
Just nice, yeah.
Drag that.
And then you can play with the alpha within there, can't you?
Yeah,
would you have to do that? You could, or would you be better to do that in the symbol?
I think you're better off doing it out on the stage, because it's difficult to see how much of it you want until it's there.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So I'll do that, and then I'll go to the properties, color effects, alpha. Okay, and again, I think something like that works really well. Again, if I switch it off and on, without, with, without, with. It's a really nice effect.
Yeah, it is nice.
Okay. Now, at the moment, that's only there for one frame. If I hit... Oh, no, it isn't. Oh, no, because I got frames added in. Oh, yeah, of course. I got frames added in. So it'll automatically run that forward to the next scene, and it'll automatically keep that glow as well on the next scene as well.
Yeah.
Now, when we come to adding in our character, we want the lighting to affect the character as well, don't we? You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah. So it needs to make sure that the character's underneath that layer?
Exactly, yeah. So then we would be putting the character in. So if I create a layer called character, I'm going to make sure that that layer is between the backdrop and the lighting.
Yeah, okay, got you.
Right? All right, cool.
Nice.
Well, I think that's a pretty neat place to stop today, Dom. In the next session, we're going to be moving on to creating the character. Okay. So I've only got 2 scenes in my animation. Obviously, when we were talking about planning our animations, we were talking about, it needs to be 20 to 30 seconds long, your animations. So I was talking about 5 scenes. So by next week, I hopefully will have added more scenes. If I haven't, because maybe I'll forget. But if I haven't, we'll still be able to move on. We'll be moving on to the character basically next session. Okay.
Got you. Yeah.
Because I think that's going to help a lot of people out.
And that's got to be an originally made character, hasn't it? It can't be from the assets library. Or the assets,
yeah. And you know what? Making a character is much easier than people think. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. You're gonna love making a character.
Right. I mean, it does look incredibly complicated, but yeah.
No, that's
good news for everyone.
Yeah. No, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be great. Yeah. So
cool. All right then. Well, good job. Well done. That was a good session. These anime things, it's picking up the pace. I like it. And we'll send everybody out the recording. We'll send everybody out the slides as well. And also, when you do get the email to, with all of that stuff in there, do give us some feedback, because otherwise, how do we know, what's going on and what you need and all the rest of it? Generally, feedback is good, but we do only get feedback from maybe 5 or 6 people, and it's going out to 80 people. So please do let us know, because that'd be great.
Yeah, and all joking aside, if you do feel that we spend too long over certain skills, or you want to change something about how we run these sessions and present it, then let us know, because if it doesn't work, if it doesn't work for everyone, then we need to change it. I really want this to kind of be the kind of definitive how-to, really. The easy painting by numbers, Adobe Animate, that everybody can understand and be happy to do.
Yeah, well, exactly. Well, Annette thinks it's Ardderchog, in fact.
Try again. Ardderchog.
Ardderchog.
There it is. Da iawn.
Ardderchog. Oh, so CH is...
Yeah, and double D is like at the beginning of this and that.
Ardderchog.
There we are.
God blimey, that's a mouthful, that.
So now you can say my name properly for the first time as well.
Hang on a minute. Okay. Meredith.
No, man. It's double D. Oh, for goodness
sake. I mean, I say Meredith, don't I?
Yeah, it's an at the end.
Meredith.
Yeah, there we are. Not Yeah.
It's the scouse over the top. You can't understand it, you see. That's why I think you don't call it the asset warp tool. You call it the acid warp tool. So there you go.
Acid warp tool. Yeah.
It's way better. Right. Thank you very much, everyone. I'll send out the stuff. There we go. Miss Morcast says thanks, both. Very helpful. And John gives you happy days. Thanks very much.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
thanks, guys.
We do appreciate the feedback. Do give us over email as well. Anthony's there saying thank you very much. Cool. We'll end it there. And we'll see you next week.